Hello, I'm Melissa Brown, a Senior Program Coordinator here at USEA, and this is our first installment of USEA's Global Briefing, where we talk about energy issues abroad and why they matter to Americans. Today, our guest is Latvia's Minister for Climate and Energy, Kaspars Melnis. Welcome. We're happy to have you here.
Welcome.
Thank you. Let's start with some commentary on energy security and the transatlantic cooperation. Given that over 70% of Latvia's LNG imports in 2024 were sourced from the US, how does the ministry plan to further solidify this critical energy supply relationship and enhance the resilience of the Baltic region's gas supply?
So first of all, we in the future we see that we must more concentrate on our allies, so we can trust it. If we talk about energy sector, it's quite important because we talk about security. Because if something happens, which what shows historically, it's how you can depend on this kind of few very important energy sector. And USA, one of our allies, we can trust it. And in the future, we see quite the same, more cooperated, and we can see how make it more benefits for both sides.
Wonderful. And following the final desynchronization from the Brel electricity grid, what specific new transatlantic initiatives beyond the current LNG trade are being explored to deepen energy cooperation with the US, and particularly within the context of reinforcing NATO alliance ties?
Of course, now that we're working together, because when we already started working for this organization from Morale, it's of course digital security. And so what it's cyber security that we are working already together. In the future, we see definitely more cooperatives. We not talk about Latvian whole region, and that's where we are really good working together. And I'm hoping we work even closer in the future because that's where it's definitely like cyber security is very important. We talk about energy sector because we all understand how much now the energy producers are in depends of all these technologies of control.
Oh, wonderful. And Latvia is experiencing numerous renewable energy projects to come online. What regulatory or market mechanisms are being prioritized to ensure the stable and efficient integration of the significant new capacity into the national electricity system?
First of all, Latvia one of the unique systems where we have quite a lot of free capacity of the grid at the moment, so we don't have like challenging about too much or there's nobody. We need to choose who can have the space to work close to the grid. At this point, we have quite a lot free space, free connection, and that's our biggest possibilities and biggest plus we have a region because we have at the moment. So we don't have like challenging at the moment. We don't see a choose which energy sector we could support it. No, at the moment we are open for all, for all energy who wanted producers who want to come to the market. Because at this point we have already free grid capacity to just came and switch it on and working.
Wonderful. And what is the ministry's strategic roadmap and anticipated timeline for deploying large scale battery energy storage systems to effectively manage the intermittency of the growing wind and solar power generation?
At this point we see that market growing by themselves quite very good. We already installed a lot of batteries for our existing market and it's get very good working. And this month we will more get to the grid battery spectrum for our system operator, more balancing system. And I would say there's no like big pushing from the government side. We just make it regulation clearance, and the market growing very well themselves. And at this point, I wouldn't say there's some challenge from the government side. There's opportunities from the business side.
Wonderful. And what preliminary findings from the SMR evaluation process are most encouraging for Latvia's long term energy transition? And what specific regulatory or legislative challenges will be required to potentially introduce nuclear energy technology into the country's energy mix by a target date?
It's at the moment we understand that we try to make more similar regulations as our neighbor countries, and we understand because first of all it will be more interesting market for the producers. First of all, and we all try to make it more simple for obviously for the builders and even for ourselves for ourselves because at this point we don't have quite big experience about nuclear and So at this point, we more support and more looking for our neighbors and who have and who already have experience.
Hmm.
So looking forward, we look quite positive, but definitely it's very important to have maximum similar and as easiest regulation as possible, but the same to keep the security level very high.
Great. And now some questions on the role of technology and regulation. Beyond SMRs and batteries, what specific role do you envision for AI and other digital technologies in optimizing Latvia's newly synchronized electricity grid, managing decentralized generation, and improving energy efficiency nationwide?
Well, I think this is quite a great question because we don't know what technology is coming. The technologies are changing so much. We will definitely see the balancing of the market. There could be new possibilities are coming, and they all start from simple things like just one of the simple things who is helping already balancing the markets, like a mobile phone app when you can charge your electric cars when the price is very low, but it means very low, so it means taking the capacity of the grid at this point. So there's a lot of new possibilities, I think. I think one of the biggest challenge where we're gonna work all together definitely will be more balancing of the grid. And that will be one of the biggest challenges we see. There come more and more consumers who are producing electricity, and we see that in the morning there were quite high possibilities, not necessarily for energy, at night lower. So, and that's the biggest question about balancing. And I think the future is the biggest challenge definitely will be the balancing the system.
Great. And how will the ministry leverage the lessons learned from the full desynchronization to adapt existing electricity market regulations to foster investment in innovative technologies and attract foreign direct investment in Latvia's energy sector?
I think the key is cooperation and dialogue
Okay.
between the government and the investors and to have this conversation about all small details because like I like to say the devil is in the details.
Mhm.
First of all, we always have the big picture where we want to go, but then started the small details about the possibilities, and there we are quite good in Latvia about cooperation and conversation to find the best view, and sometimes even find a compromise side from both sides. The project could go and the idea could go to life.
Great. And recognizing the long lead times for new energy infrastructure, what is the government's strategy for training and developing the specialized workforce required to deploy, operate, and maintain advanced technologies like SMRs, large scale BESS, and sophisticated smart grids?
That is one of the biggest challenge about it. Total, we start to understand about we're looking in a whole region about the new workforce. We talk about SMRs. At the same time, Latvia have very good engineers about already existing data centers, so that we already have experience of this kind of work. I think so. It's only a question of the time, and of course, it's always a question of the market. How big market is asking for those specialists,
Mhm.
and then you can always find them.
Indeed. And now on some just protecting the critical infrastructure questions. What are the ministry's top three priorities and associated action plans for strengthening the physical security and cyber resilience of Latvia's critical energy infrastructure, particularly in the light of the new grid synchronization and the current geopolitical security landscape?
First of all, it's cooperation. I think it's definitely that's we're already doing in the region. It's one of the most important. But secondly, it's our own homework what we needed to do in each country because we're already working quite good cooperating with our Lithuania, Estonia, and Poland. Together, we talk about physical and security of our infrastructure. Digital infrastructure security is quite important. Where we see very good cooperation with US. Very good. And I would say the third one is still very important if we talk about its on each country's homework. And that's we specifically have different positions because we have different energy assets and they need to have specific security and specific situations at this moment. But most important to understand that we and what we all working hard to have stable electricity market and stable electricity systems. And one of the like best thing mm, how it shows when we switch from the Braille, nobody even noticed nothing in the grid system. I think that shows it's the best way.
Oh, yes. And our last question is to what extent will enhanced cooperation and technology sharing with other NATO allies, including the US, play a role in Latvia's overall energy strategy for the protection of its cross-border energy assets and national power system?
I think one of the biggest corporate we will see is about exchanging experience about digital and cyber attacks. That's quite important when we talk about in NATO. So we are exchanging our experience already because we have quite similar attacks when we talk about digital security. And of course, it's very important that we have a good cooperation. If something happens, and we know, and we can other countries get readiness because we look it's quite similar tactics, and that helps for. It's better you learn from your neighbor countries than from other ones than you learn from your own mistakes and your own problems.
Oh, yes. And one bonus question: if people are interested in investing in Latvia in the energy sector or want to learn more, where should they go?
I think definitely they can go to our minister's website. And one of the most important documents is if you are seriously wanting to invest, you can see our Latvia with this year approved Energy Strategic 2050. So we can see where we are going for the country, in which energy sectors we are seeing the future, and I think that's where you have all data and all information. We want a bit more clearness in where we're going because even there's like roadmap, and we are agreed that in one time in 5 years we're looking to understand in which way we are, where we're going, and I think that's one of the most documented, most data what we have at this moment.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Minister Melnis, for joining us. And to everyone watching, we hope you have a great day.